The holy grail of Magic is the transformational sideboard that actually works. Let's see if we found it. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And today Zach has submitted an interesting deck list that is a different combo deck in Game 1 than it is in Game 2. In Game 1, we're going to play essentially Oops All Spells, a deck that seeks to mill itself with Balustrade Balustrade Spy or Undercity Informer as it plays no traditional lands. The deck will then return a couple of Narcomoebas to play, creatures that just enter the battlefield, and it's going to sack all of those to a Dread return. Put a Thassa's Oracle into play. Since you have an empty library, you're going to win the game when that happens. But then we're going to board out 15 cards and transform into a different deck for at least Game 2, where instead we're going to opt for the Witherbloom Apprentice Magecraft combo. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. But if you'll notice, this says cast or copy. So we can target ourselves with Chain of Smog and infinitely copy it in order to drain our opponent's life total down to 0. So what's going on? Why do we actually want to try something like this? Decks like Oops All Spells are a linear combo deck, and a lot of times they can be disrupted by pieces of, say, graveyard hate. If your opponent brings in a bunch of graveyard hate and you're not on that combo anymore, your opponent has a bunch of cards that they think are going to work against you, but actually don't. But a lot of the problems with these transformational sideboards is that the core of your deck is still the same. Even if we sideboard out 15 cards, 45 of those cards are still essentially, rituals and fast mana. And so some things like Deafening Silence can really still slow us down. And it's not going to be a full stop from a lot of those hate pieces, but it'll oftentimes buy our opponent a turn or two, which can be bad. And the other thing is that a lot of times these all-in combo decks are better at answering the things that are trying to stop them rather than pivoting to a new combo. So for example, Black-Red Reanimator playing Serenity to wipe out all of the Chalice of the Voids and Leyline of the Voids that are stopping them is a great example of that. So let's take a look at the deck list and see whether or not this is going to be a flop or a huge success. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, Cool Stuff Inc., and my new sponsor, Eminence Gaming. I recently attended the Cookout, one of their CEDH events, and I wrote up a pretty respectable article, if I do say so myself, on some of the things I learned from my testing for that event. Consider checking it out if you're into CEDH. So here's what we're working with. This is the deck list in all of its glory. Again, the Game 1 deck is pretty stock Oops All Spells, and the sideboard plan takes up the vast majority of the slots here, with Spoils of the Vault serving as a tutor for the other piece of the Chain of Smog Witherbloom Apprentice combo. So kind of what's going on here is that you can go and board out roughly a 15 card package, doing something like this for all 15 of these cards. You can leave yourself with a little bit more wiggle room if you don't need the Xantid Swarms for a specific matchup, but this is kind of what you're going for. And the ultimate question is going to be like, is this pivot better than just staying on the Oops All Spells plan? With that being said, I think we're ready to hop into it. Remember, as always, if you're looking for paper Magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Let's battle. Okay, I do not have a payoff card here, so this one is a mulligan. I have no starting mana source with this hand. I mean, I guess technically I have a Summoner's Pact, but that's not going to get me to where I need to go. I think I'll go to 5 rather than keeping this. Yikes. 4? Let's go to 4. Probably around 4, I will have to start thinking about keeping a suboptimal hand. Well, this ain't great. I can keep something that has 3 mana. No win condition. No real ability to disrupt. I'm going to go to 3. This is the best one we've seen so far. 1, 1, 2, 3. I might need to just keep guaranteed black and go 1, 2, 3. All right. Do that. No life. Pass turn. We have a kill with Dark Ritual off the top. Daggers. All right, it's gone. This is normally bigger too, isn't it? Does this normally line up? Oof, punished for not playing out Lotus Petal. It didn't do it because things like Prismatic Ending exist. We're maybe playing against something in like the 4-color loam ballpark after seeing like Wasteland and Chalice. Okay, that's a little easier to get into play than the Spy. Like we can 2-turn with this. Alright, so we're going to be under a decent amount of pressure from Urza Saga, and my opponent also might randomly have Graveyard Hate in game 1. Here's the construct. And let's see how bad this gets. Okay, it's just Mox Opal, so we're probably playing against 8 cast. Yeah, there we go. Or at least something in that general ballpark. So I eat 5 damage here, go to 15. Get like 2 turns. Blackland into Dark Ritual is the ideal. That did not happen. I think I'm dead now. Oh, that is a Tezzeret. So my opponent just pluses on any artifact and I die. Alright. Noted. So, do I want to go to a different sideboard plan here? It's going to be like 50-50 whether or not my opponent is running Leylines or whether they're running artifact-based stuff. I think for the game where I'm on the play, I just risk the game 1 combo and folding to a Leyline, and then for game 3, I pivot into the other one. I think that's my plan. I have no payoff card here, and multiple Narcomoebas in hand. No good. This is slow. This may be turn 2s with a packed backup, but I will need a piece of mana. I'm not super game for that. I think I've played against this opponent before, and I think they have like Transmute Artifact and such for Canonists, and I think they had Archons out of the sideboard too. I think I'm going to just try to turn 1 them. Yes. So Petal, Dark Ritual, Spirit Guide, Informer, Spy. Yeah. This is good. A Narcomoeba can go back into a deck. A Cabal Therapy can go back into the deck. We'll see if I get Leylined and lose. I did not. And still just lose to a Force of Will. So we will Dark Ritual, play Informer. Force of Will has occurred. And that's bad news. So we can be facing down. Damping Sphere is rough. Yeah, this is why I wanted to go off on turn 1. This sort of nonsense. Alright, there's an Opal. There's Metalcraft. What is this? Oh, it's an alternative Shadow Spear. Sure. Alright, new artifact land. We can be facing down something like a Tezzeret. I'm going to play this out. And we're chilling. Dark Ritual is no longer on the table. That's a different ritual. This is all spells, right? Yeah, so I can cast Cabal Ritual, but then not cast Undercity Informer. So now I want a land. Unfortunate thing here is that like my opponent probably just has a counterspell if they're not playing out spells. So I don't know that it super matters. Like I can Summoner's Pact for Spirit Guides, but you know, that doesn't get me to where I want to be. Just a land drop from my opponent. Alright. I will play this. So let's attempt to cast this Cabal Ritual and put this Informer in play. This is a pass the turn line. Again, because this is not free. Dismember is something that could happen, I guess. Archon. That's fine. I now can never go for it with protection. So we're just going for it. I feel like I'm dead. 3 Narcomoebas in play. Dread return. Target Thassa's Oracle. Sacrifice 3 things. Oh, wow, my opponent didn't have anything. Cool. That was lucky. So now, am I into this combo instead? I won through my opponent's hate that time. I don't know that that's going to be the norm. Urza Saga finding Graveyard Hate is also more likely to happen this game. Alright. Try the pivot. Yeah, am I into this? It has half of my combo. It has Disruption for my opponent. It's pretty bad if I get Chalice locked out of this game, though. Maybe I mulligan like once or twice, looking for something of similar power level. Sure, I'm not finding it. Yeah, we'll go to 4. This is just much worse than that initial hand. I think a hand with a land and one of the combo pieces in hand already is probably better than this. Okay. So I can keep like land, Chain of Smog. Or maybe land. No, I'm not going to get to 4 mana to Summoner's Pact and Chain of Smog in one turn, right? And that also gets caught by Archon, yeah. Alright, so let's keep land, Chain of Smog. Pretty unexciting over here. Like, I'm going to need 2 different things. I'm going to need green mana, and I am also going to need a Witherbloom Apprentice. And my potential tutor is already off. Oof. Alright. We'll play this. Ripped 2 1-drops in a row, which is rough. Okay, yeah, there's Urza Saga. Would have represented pretty quick Graveyard Hate. Oh, yeah. There's Graveyard Hate. Rough. So we'll see if I end up just, like, very quickly dying to Urza Saga Construct tokens. Artifact land does not help that cause. That's my 4th 1-drop in a row. So my opponent has a 5/5 that is going to end up attacking as probably a 7/7 or an 8/8. Sure. Armad's Crypt as well. Oh, I'm probably dead next turn, right? Yeah, I don't think I have any outs from here. Yeah, I'm at 13. Yeah, I can cast Summoner's Pact, get a Spirit Guide or a Witherbloom Apprentice, but not actually put it in play here. We took some rough mulligans that time. GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is just the best place to host your online deck lists, and I don't think it's close. I think it's wonderfully organized, and you can have a great system of folders so that you can go through, separate your decks by whatever you want. I separate mine by format. I have just a few legacy decks, and Moxfield is able to keep track of all the decks that even someone like me makes. So please consider checking them out.
Oh, apologies. I just realized that this thing was not reset to the proper height. Magic Online has had a bug this week where it's forcing reinstalls, and I lose all my settings when that happens. Anyway, Lotus Petal, Spirit Guide, Cabal Ritual, Spirit Guide, Spy, Mill myself, Cabal Therapy myself for Thassa's Oracle win. That's fine. I'll keep this. My opponent has a Commander Friend. We'll see if it ends up doing anything. Savannah bodes well for me. Mox Diamond into Chalice is actually very bad, right? Expedition Map is fine. My opponent cannot crop rotation for Bojuka Bog to stop me. So I think we're good. Cast Cabal Ritual. Cast Cabal Ritual. Do a Spy. Target myself. 4 Narcomoebas enter play. Cabal Therapy. Target myself. Sacrifice 1 of the Narcomoebas. You've already used your Bojuka Bog. Now your Tabernacle is not going to do anything here. Name Thassa's Oracle. So I can put that in my graveyard. And I will dread return Thassa's Oracle. Sacrificing some Narcomoebas. We'll get a couple extra zombies, and then we win the game. It's super fortunate for us that our opponent just randomly had Bojuka Bog in hand, otherwise I would have lost that one. Given that my opponent is always just going to have access to instant speed crop rotation for Bojuka Bog, and going off is not going to be particularly safe, I think I'm interested in the 15 card in-out plan here, or all post-sideboard games if we have more than one. Oh no, I've mixed them together. Alright, 7, 13, 14, 15, just double check, make sure that looks right. It does. So this hand has neither of my pieces of my A plus B combo. It's an automatic mulligan. This secondary hand is probably fine. Keep this pitching Xantid Swarm. So there's a Soul Guide Lantern. Isn't really going to do what my opponent wants it to do. So if I do this untapped, Dark Ritual plus Elvish Spirit Guide is 4 mana. I need 5 mana to go off. So let's just play and shock this in. And pass the turn with the intention of casting Spoils of the Vault at my opponent's end of turn. Ooh, that's annoying. We can work around that. Let's cast Spoils of the Vault in response. And get a Witherbloom Apprentice. Cost me 5 life, but we got there. So that's in play. It's gonna be the only thing my opponent can do here. Alright, so do I have a kill? If I cast Dark Ritual, that is +1 mana. I will need, what, 6 mana to cast Witherbloom Apprentice and Chain of Smog. So I could go land drop, Dark Ritual, 3 mana, Spirit Guide down to 2 mana, 1 mana short. Yeah, so I will just 2-turn this. Let's do this untapped. Do 3 mana to just play out the Witherbloom Apprentice. And then next turn, can either Dark Ritual Chain of Smog or just shock land Chain of Smog to kill my opponent. Ancient Tomb's fine. My opponent can't Chalice on 2 because of Sphere of Resistance. Guess I could play a second Sphere of Resistance. That would be beatable. Just play out a Wild Cantor and go off the following turn. Now that is Kahira to hand. Sure. They can't Swords to Plowshares me because of Sphere of Resistance, so we should just be donezo here. Go ahead and play this. I will pay the 3 life. So that I have to copy this fewer times. I'm fine doing this. Right, my opponent's at 16. Does Dark Ritual do anything cool? Dark Ritual goes up to 4 mana. No, that doesn't do anything cool. Chain of Smog, target me. I think we're just good here to combo off. Something crazy like Solitude could happen, I guess. I will discard 2 cards. Copy the spell. Target myself. My opponent has anything to disrupt this. This is their moment. It seems like they don't. And after I clicked through it a couple of times, they did indeed concede. Alright, we have all the mana in the world, nothing to do with it, so this is a mulligan. Agadeem's Awakening, 1 mana. Dark Ritual, 3 mana. Undercity Informer, Spirit Guide to activate with Pact of Negation backup. That's really fucking strong. Get rid of Chrome Mox here. Alright. Untapped. Dark Ritual. Undercity Informer. Exile for mana. Target myself. Sacrifice Undercity Informer to its own ability. Mill all the things. And my opponent has seen enough of the combo to just concede at this point. They know what's up. I have literal 0 information on what my opponent is doing, so I am going to do the transformational sideboard. So, oops out, Witherbloom Apprentice combo in. I don't think I like this hand. It has half of my combo, no black mana, too much green mana. Let's ship this one. Is this a turn 1? Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide. No, I'm gonna need another black mana. But this is definitely a keep. I shouldn't, in theory, need Spoils of the Vault. I guess if I get another... Oh god, that feels fucking dirty. Prismatic Vista. Forest map? Okay, so maybe another sort of depthy deck. So from Mox doesn't really change my mana situation. If I feel safe doing so, I can put Witherbloom Apprentice into play this turn. If this is a... I don't know that I want to do that. I don't know that I want to give my opponent any information before they're dead. Yeah, I'm just going to pass the turn. If I'm wrong and this is some sort of green-white mid-range deck and I eat a Thalia this turn, it kind of sucks. This is too much green mana. Actually, does that get me a kill with Wild Cantor? From Mox, Imprint, Pact. Lotus Petal, Witherbloom Apprentice, Summoner's Pact, Wild Cantor, cast Wild Cantor, black, green, go? That seems like a kill. I'm just going to double check the wording on this card. Yep. I guess let's go. From Mox, Imprint, Pact, Lotus Petal, Witherbloom Apprentice, Mindbreak Trap. I guess it's better to have that Mindbreak Trapped than to get something Mindbreak Trapped after I Summoner's Pact. Just getting... Ooh. Yeah, I'll use that ability. Let me take a quick gander. Nothing there. The Mindbreak Trap is splash damage from the Creative Techniques / Mind's Desire decks that are running around right now. So we're going to be chilling for a few turns. My opponent's deck won't be particularly fast at killing us. Multiple Cloud Posts can do some serious work. But I can't do a lot right now. So yeah, still on... This Thoughtseize will be very respectable if I can actually cast it. What's my opponent on? 2, 4, 5, 6. My opponent's on 7 mana, so we're not quite to big scary Eldrazi territory, but we're getting close. That is a Green Sun for a Primeval Titan. Getting stage and depths. Sure. Yeah, we're doing a hot lot of nothing here. And a Cabal Therapy to exile. I don't know that I have any outs. I need like double black mana. I can't get that in a single card. And there's a couple Glimmer Posts. Yeah, like I can't get double black mana while also getting Witherbloom Apprentice. I could Summoner's Pact for Wild Cantor to get black. But I'm just dead to Dark Depths combo here. We'll concede. Mindbreak Trap is unfortunate and will be tough to beat. So is my opponent going to take the ley lines out of their deck? Probably not. I think I still stay on this combo. Oh, my opponent's thinking about it though. This is a tempting hand. I think I will mulligan it. I'm missing both green mana and half of my combo. I am missing any starting mana with this. I don't think I'm willing to keep that. Is this turn 1? How many cards am I on? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this attempts to turn 1. It will lose to Mindbreak Trap. I guess keeping the land is better than the Spirit Guide, right? Because it's still 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, land is better than the Spirit Guide in case things go wrong. But I think if things go wrong, I die to Summoner's Pact, so there's that. Alright, my opponent has kept on 4. A 3 life. Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Summoner's Pact. Witherbloom Apprentice. Cast. You have Mindbreak Trap. Chain of Smog. Target myself. I'm dead if you do, but you don't. GG. Alright, what are we working with here? 1 mana, 2 mana, kind of 3 mana. This isn't quite right. I'm fine mulliganing this. No starting black mana here. Probably go to 5 on this one. So I'd keep something of roughly that caliber on a 5. If these two go back, do I have a turn 1? Act, Cantor, Ball Ritual, not quite, but very close. See where this goes. Blue deck. Blue deck is definitely scary. Yeah, I'm just double checking my map. Summoner's Pact, Wild Cantor, use this, Cabal Ritual, 1 short of going off. Opponent keep a 1-lander of their own? No, they kept on 7, sure. So that is what I need to attempt to YOLO go off. Would I like to attempt to YOLO go off? Yep, I would. Pay 3 life. Exile a Spirit Guide. Cast a Cabal Ritual. We're getting a response. It is a Brainstorm. My Cabal Ritual is good. I'm going to choose the one of these that does not commit the Spirit Guide as a resource. Exile this for mana. Use target me. Sacrifice this creature. And yeah, we just get there. Tundra Bayou. Maybe some sort of Orcish Bowmaster control-y pile. I have Swords to Plowshares to worry about, which makes Witherbloom Apprentice combo less appealing. Definitely like Xanted Swarm, though. I think I'm going to do the 15 for 15 swap. Alright, where? Alright, let's do this. And I can always reevaluate after game 1, or sorry, after game 2, if this doesn't feel like it's working. I don't have the second half of my combo here. I think I am fine just shipping this one. Okay. Brain. Spoils of the Vault. Get Witherbloom Apprentice. Pass turn. No, Spoils of the Vault get Chain of Smog. Pass turn. Next turn, have 4 mana. This is going to be fine. I think I am going to keep the Cabal Therapy, though, to just do something to help make sure the coast is clear on my combo turn. Preferably, I will not Cabal Therapy into a Brainstorm. Okay, does this change anything? Awakening. From Mox, imprint this. 2 mana. Spoils or Chain. 1 mana left. And we're not quite there yet. Let's do this. A life and pass the turn. And I'll just plan on doing an end of my opponent's turn. Spoils of the Vault. Never mind. I'll Spoils of the Vault right the fuck here. Whee! This telegraphs what's going to happen. Alright, I lost 5 for putting Chain of Smog into my hand. There's a Tundra. Yep, this is why I didn't want a Cabal Therapy on turn 1, just by the way. Now this fetch land can shuffle some stuff away. Ooh, buddy. Alright. Am I now imprinting Cabal Therapy? Imprint, Chromox, imprint Cabal Therapy. Cabal Ritual up to 3 mana. Elvish Spirit Guide is 4 mana. Of the appropriate colors with Pact of Negation backup. Won't beat a fluster. I can Cabal Therapy this turn and wait 1 more turn. I think it's fine to just go for it here. So, Cabal Ritual. Summoner's Pact. Witherbloom Apprentice. Exile 4 mana. Witherbloom Apprentice. I really want my opponent to interact now rather than later. Gosh, thank you, opponent. Thank you. That mistake is so important for me. I Pact of Negation this Swords, and I probably win the game instead of lose the game. My opponent gets drained, and they need... that was fully my opponent's game if they let me discard my own card first. Woo! Alright, what am I working with here? So... Summoner's Pact for Wild Cantor, play Wild Cantor, Dark Ritual, Undercity Informer, Spirit Guide, sack it, and Cabal Therapy myself. Yeah, this is fine. All right, my opponent has mulligan to 5. Let's see if they're dead. Pay 3 life. Summoner's Pact. Wild Cantor. Cast Wild Cantor. Sack for black. Dark Ritual. Undercity Informer. Exile a Spirit Guide. Target me. Sack you to your own ability. Yeah. This is dirty. With 0 information about what my opponent is doing, I am going to do the 15 for 15. And we'll go ahead and submit. All right, what am I looking at here? No starting black mana. No fun thing for Witherbloom Apprentice. So I think I'm just going to ship this one. I don't think I like this either. I'm going to go to 5. Okay. One way or another, this is probably a keep. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to solve some of the mana problems later. We're going to need persistent black mana, but I don't know that it's worth mulliganing lower than this. By the way, my opponent and I just casually chatted a bit, so if you notice the clock's ticking down a lot, it's not play decision oriented. Underground Sea? So, based on the chat, I know that my opponent is playing Doomsday now, which would have been a reasonable guess off of Underground Sea, Thoughtseize anyway. All right, I've lost the Summoner's Pact. Don't have a lot going on for now. If things get particularly bad, I can just cast Spirit Guides and try to beat my opponent down, but I would very much prefer not to try and win that way. Yeah. Black untapped land would be pretty ideal. All right, would I like to use a Spirit Guide to cast a Spirit Guide? I don't think so. I'm going to try to keep the Combo Dream alive for a little while. If I draw another mana source next turn, though, like especially one that's not black, I might just drop a Spirit Guide. Opponent's got time to set up. There's no real pressure on them. But Spirit Guide's not, like, super pressure. Let that Ponder do. All right, that Ponder shuffled. Dark Ritual. I think I'm going to stay the course here. Like, I have sequences of 2 cards that can probably let me go off with protection. Sure. And there's the Doomsday. Like, a Spirit Guide attack is not fast enough to outclock this Doomsday, so I think I'm going to try to just win. Depending on what my opponent has in hand, I can technically die this turn as well. Alright, my opponent has made their Doomsday pile. What are we looking at? Or stuff that I care about. Days, forces, flusters, more other forces, misdirections. Alright. Does this present a kill? Wild Cantor, Dark Ritual. Let's count mana instead. Because colors aren't going to matter. I have more than enough. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. Or no, I don't have both Witherbloom Apprentice and Chain of Smog. I only have one of the 2. What if I spy my opponent? Wild Cantor, Dark Ritual, 4 mana, Elvish Spirit Guides, 5, 6 mana, Thoughtseize, Spoils, and Spy. And just hope there's not a land in their pile and they die. Okay, we're thinking with portals. Like, the Cavern of Souls isn't in there, and that's the most common land that would be in a Doomsday pile. Come on, Dark Writ. That's the Force of Will. I was hoping that was in the pile. Okay. That's a very good 2-for-1 for my opponent. End of turn, they might crack Relic, depending on how exactly their pile is constructed. Alright, sure. Oh no. My opponent might have just punted the game. We'll see. They accidentally saved the target for relic on me when they wanted to relic themselves. See if it matters. Does not matter. Not this time anyway. Okay. So do I want to be on this combo or this combo? I know that my opponent has a relic, but most of their other stuff is just generic interaction. The Xantid Swarms are kind of nice. Oh, actually the line that I was going for didn't work because I had sideboarded out the spy stuff. We'll just keep that a secret between you and me, huh? Yeah, I think I want to be able to spy my opponent in this matchup. Or when things get a little bit weird. But if I can find a way to keep in the Xantid Swarms, I probably will. This is Witherbloom's out. Chains out. Xantid Swarm and Spoils. Those are the 15. So I need to cut 3 cards if I want to do this whole Xantid Swarm thing. I probably can get rid of the Reanimate. I can probably get rid of the Bridge from Below. I could cut the second Cabal Therapy. That's a little spicy. I think I will just drop 1 Spirit Guide. Chromox, Imprint, Dark Ritual, Agadeem's Awakening. Cast Cabal Ritual, 3 mana. Cast Cabal Ritual, 4 mana. Play Spy with Pact backup. Yes. Well, my opponent has played a Leyline of the Void, which is unfortunate. The plan has changed. Chromox. Imprint Cabal Ritual. Cast Cabal Ritual. Force of Negation. I can't Pact of Negation that. I will die. But yeah, our goal is to literally just cast dudes and attack my opponent, hoping that they have a bad Leyline of the Void hand. Those weren't in for game 2, right? Ooh. If they were, I skimmed over them. Alright, Spy's gone. And currently does nothing. Going to put that in play. Currently can't pay blue for a Pact of Negation despite having 5 mana. If my opponent has it immediately, they do not. Can't pay green for this, so we're chilling. Note that this can potentially disrupt a Doomsday pile. If I don't need to pay for the packs to win, I have a chance. Like if my opponent builds a pile that does not have a land, I just packed for a spy, cast spy, can back that up with Pact of Negation. There's a Duress. It should take this one. And it does. Lotus Petal or Cabal Ritual, which one would I like to use? Probably Lotus Petal. There's 1 daze in the deck that would incentivize me to actually play Cabal Ritual. Alright. Cabal Ritual or 2-3. Alright, and we're going to get our beats on. I will just put this into play. Safer in play than in my hand. Okay, yeah, opponent has a Leyline of the Void hand, but not the ability to go off. I don't want more Pact of Negations. I guess unless I draw a Chromox, then putting one of them under is reasonable. Alright, yeah, we're chilling. That's not going to do anything for me right now. Actually, that's not true, right? That allows me to cast a Pact of Negation and pay for it. Okay. We are fully in Weird Town, folks. Population fill. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attack again. My opponent to 9. I think I am supposed to not use Lotus Petals because this is my blue. I think I do Dark Ritual here. And cast an Undercity Informer. Doomsday is starting to become scary for my opponent, although casting this does mean that I don't have Pact of Negation up until I get 1 more mana source, which mathematically is probably next turn. Alright, there is the Doomsday. My opponent has a blue mana available, meaning that they can Brainstorm and potentially set up like an LED Street Wraith pile or something. But I have these Undercity Informers that my opponent has to build a pile around, which is all sorts of fucking weird. Oh, we've gotten the GGs in the chat. Yeah, they can't beat it. They kind of just bottomed out in their draws. And that means our good old transformational sideboard deck puts up a 4-1 finish. So is it good? Like, that's just kind of the question at the end of the video here. Like, is this something that you should be doing in Legacy? I will say that this felt pretty smooth. There were a couple of times where we awkwardly got caught with our pants down, like in that Leyline of the Void game, but we managed to pull together an awkward win anyway. The Tezzerator matchup was the one that we lost, and I think we lost that one because the things that my opponent had to hate on my stuff were generic enough that I got backsplash in the secondary combo. The super generic, like, Sphere of Resistance effects, and I forget what it was, like Canonists or Archons, I forget which ones actually happened in this league. Those super generic things that just are good against combo are going to be good against this deck, much in the same way that generic cards like Force of Will and Thoughtseize are going to be good. So while this plan blanks specific targeted hate, it does not prevent or get around generic good anti-combo cards, you know, right? Like your Flusterstorms and such are probably going to be good against both one of these boards, right? Like your Mindbreak Traps and such are still going to have very relevant text. I will say this was a pretty fun league, and this league went very fast. And so if you're looking to grind and mess around with some leagues and have a little bit of fun while, you know, feeling smart and getting your opponent, this is a solid list. But I think once your opponent figures out what's going on and how these various combos work, you're in a worse spot, right? So for example, whatever player cast Source of Plowshares targeting my Witherbloom Apprentice while I still had one card in hand, if they waited literally one more click, I lose that game, and I don't remember who was the match or just the game. But there were a couple instances like that where it's the novelty that is winning you the games rather than the raw power. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that if you need paper Magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Folks, I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya.